right, we are back with another video, and we are going to be talking about this 2026 Nissan Frontier. It's a little project I'm working on, and just to give you a quick rundown, I have decided to upgrade my work vehicle to a newer vehicle. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why I chose this and things of that nature. And this is going to be a series of videos, so you can see the progress on what I've done. This is just bare bones right now. I just literally got this thing, and I'll be doing some add-ons and things of that nature to get it to where I want it, so I can do, you know, quick things here and there. And this one in particular, I had to locate this one because here in South Florida, most in the S trim, which is what this is, we're all white. I did not want a white vehicle, so I had to do a little bit of homework and whatnot. And I mean, it wasn't a deal breaker, but I would have much rather not have a white. So that's why I got a gray. I'm going to be sharing of things that I like about it, things that I don't like about it. And if you are thinking about getting one, then you can use this to help you make that decision. So let's get right into it. Alright, so let's start here in the interior of the vehicle. And this is gray on gray, so obviously this is a charcoal gray inside, I believe is the appropriate name. And what I love about it is obviously that now I have a crew cab instead of an extended cab, upgrading from my 2002 Ford Ranger, which my son Alex has confiscated. So this bad boy right here, like I said, I had to do my research to find it. I did locate this in Central Florida, in Longwood, Florida to be exact. And I was able to locate and apprehend this vehicle, and I'm trying to get it up and running. So what I do not like about this vehicle, and it's probably to try to keep the cost of the vehicle down, it does not have power mirrors, which in today's day and age is a what the heck, you know. So I'm not gonna put the window down because I just got them tinted yesterday, so you have to manually adjust the mirrors. So again, I was thinking more of getting the king cab, which is the extended cab, but when I went to go look at them to decide which one of the two I wanted, it was definitely cramped back here. So you may think of, well, what's the difference from what you had? It was cramped before. Well, this is true, but we're in the mode of upgrading and moving on to bigger and better things, right? So I figured that I sometimes do these crazy long run repairs, you know, family members and things of that nature. And if I have to take my kids or something with me, then I'm kind of stuck because I only have the front seat in the Ranger. So I decided early on that it had to have a crew cab once I figured that out. And the price difference wasn't much, so it made no sense going to the king cab. So that's why I stuck to the crew cab. So I definitely love the space here. I just took my daughter and her friend and her, not her friend, but her cousin back here. So we went ahead and everybody fit in here. So great. I'm already started putting some junk here. This is not the final thing. Like I said, I have plans for the bed, and you guys will see that here soon. No bed liner, no nothing yet. I'm thinking about getting a cap, obviously like I have in the Ranger, and a deck drawer system to go here so that I can have more storage. I'm trying to do this better than what I had before because, you know, after you use it for many years, and that Ranger was really, really faithful. I have no complaints. Those things have no death. But, you know, you learn a thing or two over the years. Obviously we have the screen. I opted for the S versus the SV because I don't feel like paying for things that I'm not going to use or things that have no value to me. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. So you're gonna pay several $1,000s for little knickknacks that have no value to you. So then what's the point? One of which is the bigger screen. I care not about the screens. I'm very, very old school. Give me buttons. I want to touch things, because these screens, when they give issues 5-6 years down the road, then you have thousands of dollars in repair, and I don't feel like dealing with that. I do like that we have buttons here to deal with the radio and whatnot. This is a touch screen, by the way. So we have here the HVAC control head. So buttons and knobs, love that. Give me that. I'm okay with that. And we have some storage here, obviously, you know, center console, whatever, no big deal. Again, no power mirrors, not cool, but I'll live. I didn't have it in the Ranger either, so whatever. Got power windows. That's a major upgrade for me, because in the Ranger I had roll-up windows, and anybody who drives a vehicle with roll-up windows can understand that when you have to roll down that window and you're by yourself, it sucks. So so yeah, I had to go through a little bit of a road trip to get this. No big deal. First time in my life actually that I get a brand new 0-meter car, and there was reasons behind that. It may not make sense to some, but maybe that's a discussion for another video if you so wish. So the reason I chose the Frontier over maybe the Toyota, or the Toyota, or maybe a Colorado or a Ranger, another Ranger, is because I truly love the fact that this is still a V6 naturally aspirated engine. The Tacomas are no longer that. They come in 4-cylinder turbos. I don't want to deal with turbos down the road. Again, I'm not saying that they break down, but I just don't want to deal with that. And if I have to do anything here, because obviously I will be doing my own maintenance and repairs in the future, I don't want to deal with 20 million tubes in the way and intercoolers and crap that's going to make my life harder. That's it. I deal with enough of that on a daily basis with other people's stuff. I don't want to deal with it on my own. So that's why I chose this one. What I do not like about this, that I liked about the Toyota, is Nissan still uses straight up GDI, gasoline direct injecting. I don't like that, because obviously, you know, the carbon buildup and things like that. At least Toyota uses the dual fuel system, so you have both regular fuel injector and GDI to maintain the valves clean, the intake valves, which my Ford F-150 also has. So I do like that. At least there's no way getting it away from GDIs now. Everybody's going to that. It is what it is. I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan, but I digress. I know there's some gains with it, but I don't like to deal with the longevity issues down the road, but it is what it is. Oil filter down there seems pretty easy to get to from the bottom. I will be probably doing a video on my very first oil change, which will happen here soon, because I'm planning on doing 500, 1500, and then maybe 1500 or 2000, and then a 5000 oil change to get all those metal contaminants out. There's plenty of other videos to explain that, but basically the first 5,000 miles of the vehicle is critical, because that's where you produce the most wear metals, because you're breaking in the engine. So you want to flush all that out. You're not going to read that in any service manual ever. That is just something that if you know, you know. And Lake the Oil Geek, Motor Oil Geek, has a channel. He explains all that. He does an excellent job, so I'll let you go over there and check him out. Anyways, there's some things here that look very expensive. So we'll see how that works out. Pretty big battery for a mid-sized truck, I guess, but again, start-stop technology, which I do not like. But again, you can't get away from that. That's one of the things I do not like. Other than that, everything is pretty much just a standard, what they've been doing for many years. Tried and true, V6, naturally aspirated, no big deal. So with the SV, you get bigger wheels, which again have no value to me whatsoever. You get, I think, a better sound system, a couple extra speakers and the bigger screen, something like that. Again, of no value to me. I want a truck that is reliable. I want a truck that I can get up and go, and so forth and so forth. So I'm a very simple dude, so I like simple things. And all these fancy smancy things that they're loading these newer vehicles with will lower reliability. So I don't like that. But again, I digress. So the first thing that I did when I got in this vehicle and drove home after everything was said and done was I farted in it. Just to make it official. I farted in it. So, you know, the new car smell hopefully will last long. It came with its things here and some hardware if you got to remove the tailgate and install a front license plate. So I'll be putting that away. Again, start stop technology, not a fan, but there's no way around it nowadays. I think I heard that they're going to be removing it, but it is what it is. So I did notice that it was missing one of those little caps up there. Didn't realize it till I got home, but the dealer made it right and they just shipped me one right away, and got no complaints there. It is what it is. It probably fell off, or you know, somebody cannibalized it or something and put it on another truck. Who knows? But no big deal. They made it right, so I got no complaints. Other than that, we are going to be doing some upgrades. We're going to be turning this bad boy on real quick. Right here. AC is nice and cold. I just put tint in there. So again, some things I like, some things I don't like, and I've already went through those. So what I will be doing is, as I start adding and doing modifications to this vehicle, I will be updating this. It's going to be like a Project Frontier or something like that. And if you guys are interested, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification if you haven't already done so. And we'll get more into details later. So till then, I thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. Ciao. 282 miles on the odometer.